Hello and welcome to IndianExpress.com. On November 8th, the government announced that 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes will no longer be legal tender. What followed was long lines outside ATMs and banks, panic-stricken people, farmers and small traders. While the government has come up with more guidelines, fresh guidelines rather, to ease this inconvenience, has this really been effective? And more importantly, has this really affected the rural population more than the government expected? To discuss these developments further in the light of the decision that the government had taken regarding demonetization, I'm joined by my colleague Harish, who will throw more light on what this means. Harish, first of all, looking at what happened today, the Supreme Court has said that it's a very serious issue considering there are long lines outside ATMs and banks. How do you analyze this statement?
See, probably the Supreme Court, like many of us, didn't anticipate the scale of the problem, right? And like any other court, it probably at first said that it's the government's prerogative, right? Because monetary policy is a prerogative of the government and the RBI. So its first reaction obviously was to say that when if the government has taken a decision, we cannot do anything about it. But now seeing the lines and everything, so now it is being forced to intervene. Otherwise I don't think. Otherwise, whether I want to demonetize or do something with the currencies within the RBI Act, there are certain things, and courts generally have followed a principle of not trying to make policy or trying to make pronouncements on policy.
Okay.
But now, since it's an issue of law and order, many things, there are a lot of public interest issues which have sprung up. So obviously today the Supreme Court is now taking cognizance of this, and probably even on a suo moto basis. And plus, probably so many PILs have piled up. So obviously the Supreme Court cannot be a sort of a silent, dispassionate observer in the whole thing, and so it is sort of
but looking at the flip side, flip-flop that the government has been taking on a very regular basis. It first said that the limit was first set at 4,500. It has been brought down to 2,000. Then it said the government...
No, they raised it from 4,000 to 4,500 and then reduced it
down
to
2,000. Now again, they said this was looking at the inconvenience that was faced by the people. Secondly, they said yesterday, Shaktikanta Das in fact said that the farmers could now withdraw up to 25,000 rupees per week. How do you analyze this entire flip-flops that the government is doing when this entire thing was implemented?
See, again, I think probably they themselves did not realize the magnitude of the problem. I mean, for a start, of course, you are withdrawing 15 lakh crore from the system, right? And which is equivalent to something like 2,300 crore pieces. So there are many aspects to this. Number one is you have to print those notes, right? Yeah. Which takes time. Then from there you have to take it to all corners of India. Right? It's not just Delhi and Bombay and all these things. You have to reach it out to Bhavani Patna, you have to reach it out to Kohima, you have to reach it out to to Gorakhpur, to Bahraich, to Faizabad. This is the second stage, that is reaching the money to each stage. And the third is the people withdrawing. See, most of the currency is not held by banks, it is held by people, right? And when you inject, say, 1 rupee into the system, it changes hands 25 times. So which means it is backing transactions of 25, right? Rupees 25. So similarly, if you now withdraw 1 rupee, you are impacting not 1 rupee, but you are impacting 25 rupees worth of business. And here we are talking of about 15 lakh crore being withdrawn. So I think they hugely underestimated the entire logistics and of the problem, and literally they have been caught napping, in this kind of a situation. So today they are naturally, I mean, they are having to change the goalposts. I think one day they said that we'll come out with micro ATMs. And this is a completely. It's very bizarre when you're saying that the ATMs have to be calibrated to the notes. Absolutely. When it should be the other way. When I print notes, the notes should be calibrated to the ATMs. So which means at every stage, and that is why probably even the Supreme Court has has intervened, because it is because clearly the government, there seems to be a lack of credibility in the way this is being implemented. So probably that is, and the courts obviously are not a silent observer in this case. So initially, as I said, initially they said, yes, this is the domain of the central bank and of the government. We shall not interfere. But when it has led to sort of chaos, and today they are saying that there could even be riots on the streets.
Absolutely.
It's a very
this court's observation is also coming just a day after Arun Jaitley said that it is in fact a very well planned and executed move. But more importantly, we've seen a lot of people lined up outside ATM. What do you think are the unforeseen impact of the demonetization move?
I think the most underestimated thing has been on the rural areas.
Okay.
I think because that is the area which needs cash the most. In the cities we all have credit cards, we have Paytms, we have a lot of plastic here, right? And plus there are enough banks. Whereas in a rural area, in any village, a bank branch may be about, say, 10 kilometers away. Okay, and this is a very busy time. This is a Rabi season. The farmer has just harvested his crop, his Kharif crop, and he needs he needs money to sow his Rabi crops, which is whether it is wheat, whether it is chana, whether it is masoor, whether it is mustard, right? And so this is the time he would like to spend more in the field, whereas he's spending now more time, going 10 kilometers away and standing in a queue. So I think this whole thing was completely, they really underestimated the magnitude of the problem. And I think the way things could turn out very serious is in wheat. In wheat, because already the government stocks, the stocks position is very, very low, and on top of it, suppose the farmers don't sow wheat. It's not just sowing. Again, even in agriculture, it's not just sowing. After that, I need labor, right? Labor has to be paid.
Okay.
Right, I need fertilizer. I need. So it's not just a question of sowing the crop. So throughout this thing, I need cash. So and I think other blunders which the government has done is not allowing cooperative banks to accept notes, to exchange notes, or for the public to withdraw, because the cooperative banks are the ones which are most present in the rural areas.
So you think
and most of your seasonal agricultural operation loans are disbursed through the primary agricultural cooperative societies. And they are the ones who give the cash. So clearly, I think the lack of planning of an otherwise brilliant idea of a necessary move towards a cashless society. We need a cashless society, because the fact is most of our transactions are underground. We need our transactions to come overground so that they can be taxed.
So you clearly think that the 25,000 rupees that the government yesterday said could be given to the farmers, that they can withdraw 25,000, is not going to be enough?
No, it is because it's a highly bureaucratic kind of a process. How do I first of all show I am a farmer? Not every farmer has a Kisan credit card. And in many cases farmers don't own the land. They take land on lease. How do I show? And leased lands have no. These are all informal contracts. Here I think we have. I think this entire operation has been undertaken in the belief that that there are banks everywhere. There are formal contracts. Most of our economy runs on trust, on informal codes.
Absolutely.
So which is where I think probably this whole operation has failed.
Absolutely. It's yet to be seen how this pans out, and how the rural population, which has been severely affected by this demonetization move, we hope that it actually gets better in the coming days. Thank you so much, Harish, for giving us your input on this entire issue. For more news and updates, log on to IndianExpress.com.